Hello, welcome to another episode of CoinBlock. I'm Charles, and today I'm going to be looking at the PChain ICO. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is definitely not financial advice. Always remember to do your own due diligence. I'm not paid, sponsored, or affiliated with any of the ICOs discussed in today's video. The views expressed in this video are just my opinions. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and of course hit that notification button because investing in ICOs is time critical and it would be such a shame for you to watch all my content only to miss out on the latest ICO offerings. If anyone approaches you on Telegram or online saying that they're CoinBlock and that they want to make you a paid review, that's not me. You're going to have to go to the About section in my YouTube channel to send me an email directly to confirm whether or not you're actually talking to me. So when I research an ICO, instead of diving headfirst into the white paper, only to read for hours and hours to realize that the ICO project isn't for me, I just want to break it down and look at the core mechanics or fundamentals behind that ICO project. I usually begin by looking at the token economics. I want to know what their hard cap is. I want to know what they do with unsold tokens. I want to know what bonuses and lockup periods have been given to pre-sale and private sale investors. I want to know what the circulating supply is like. I want to know token price, total supply. These are all things that should be at the forefront of your mind when you investigate ICOs. I then like to look at the company profile and team behind the ICO project. I want to know whether or not they've got the grit and potential to follow through and execute upon the vision that's outlined in their white paper. And finally, I like to gauge the amount of hype and marketing awareness in the cryptocurrency space for that ICO project. There's no point of me chucking money at something if people aren't going to be talking about it in the next 6, 12 or 18 months time. So today we're going to be looking at PChain. So what is PChain? What's all the fuss about? Well, PChain wants to bridge Ethereum smart contract functionality with Bitcoin to provide faster transaction times and increase scalability, leveraging sidechain technology to increase blockchain throughput and bandwidth. Now, in order to have a better understanding of PChain, you really have to look at it in a comparative way. So if we look at its closest blockchain competitors, we've got Zilliqa, EOS, YG, Eden Chain, and of course ICO. Now, all these numbers here are the market capitalizations for these cryptocurrencies, with the exceptions of YG Dash and Eden Chain, because they haven't been released on exchanges yet. The ICOs have just finished. So these were the hard caps that they had, 24 million and 40 million. And we can see that the numbers here are quite high. You can also add something like Dragon Chain or Wan Chain into the mix. They've also got very high market caps. And the reason for this is all to do with the fact that you can actually build on top of these platforms. That's what really gives them their value. And it's the same with PChain. They're actually asking for quite a low sum of money, $21 million. That's their hard cap. Now with PChain, they're going to have a total token supply of 2.1 billion. The circulating supply is set at 35%. And if we look at their fund allocation, they're actually going to be giving 65% of their proceeds to research and development, 20% is going to be going on marketing, 10% to operations, and 5% towards legal and compliance fees. So I think that's a fair breakdown of their funds. The only kind of concern I have with a project like PChain is really transparency, or rather a lack of it. I don't know if the bonuses have been vested or locked up. I haven't got any information regarding their pre-sale or private sale metric. Now, if we look at the positives behind PChain, 4 things stand out. First, PChain wants to build applications on its own blockchain, just like EOS and ICO, and you can even add Wan Chain and Dragon Chain into the mix. Basically, you are going to be able to build applications and other ICOs on top of their protocols, which means there's greater scope for its price to go up in the long term. The second positive with PChain, its main value proposition, is that it wants to merge sidechain, cross-chain and sharding solutions all into one project. So it's actually quite similar to something like One Ledger, and it's also taking the best parts of a company like Rootstock or Zilliqa and merging it into one. But again, this means nothing unless you've actually got a prototype that you can test. Another positive behind PChain is really the team. They do have a very good team, especially the CEO, Dr. Feng Cao. Now, Mr. Cao is the co-founder of China Ledger, a powerful blockchain consortium in China that is hugely influential in the Asia blockchain space. I can't stress that enough. He really is a big player. And the final thing to note is that the project has no declared advisors. That's why the score is a little bit low on the team front. However, it does have many working partnerships with numerous Chinese groups, including the Chinese Cryptocurrency Forum 8BTC and government-endorsed projects like the Chinese Federation for Logistics and Purchasing. So there's a lot of good things going on here with PChain, but the question is, can it pull it off? So if we look at the negatives, we've really got their competitors. You've got Zilliqa, Polkadot, List, Ardor, Rootstock. They all essentially want to do the same thing as PChain. The project's basically a white paper idea and it has not released a prototype or MVP, and it's asking for your money. And then I went to their GitHub page and they've only got 3 contributors. What's that all about? For a project of this caliber and scale, I would have wanted to see a team of a similar size as Icons, and I'm not getting that with PChain. And not only that, you've got PChain's roadmap, which I actually have an issue with. It's an 18-month timeline. And the final thing that really bugged me about PChain is really their testnet. It's not going to be online or available for at least another 7 months. And one thing I really noticed, it's not really a criticism of PChain, but it's certainly something to be aware of, is that on their GitHub page, they're actually using a fork of Ethermint. Now, Ethermint, as you're probably aware, is a proof-of-stake blockchain client that wanted to build applications on top of the Ethereum virtual machine. That's funny. PChain wants to do exactly the same thing. So the next thing you need to do when you research PChain is you need to go to GitHub and you need to determine for yourself whether or not the code for Ethermint has actually been modified for the PChain project. That will tell you whether they're actually working and putting in the hours as opposed to just cloning somebody else's work. Now, recently there have been many projects coming out of China that want to do a similar thing to PChain. You've got Matrix, Shada, Internet Node Token, and Elastos, and they did fairly well when they hit the markets. The question is, can PChain replicate that? So if you look at its selling points, I do think PChain's a winner, but there are 2 things that stand against it. The fact that it hasn't got an MVP and a lack of transparency concerning their pre-sale and private sale. So that is something to be very aware of. Now, you can see here with the scoring, I've been quite bullish on them. For hype, I gave them 5, which is a good number actually for a Chinese project. I always have a hard time trying to assess the market for Asian ICOs. With the team, I only gave them a 7, which is a very good score actually. I do think they have a world-class team, but the reason for that is they have no declared advisors, but overall the team are very competent. And then we got the token economics. So I gave them a 5. I didn't really want to penalize them because I do think their market cap for what they want to achieve is very low. But with no hard evidence of a product, I had issues with that, so I was reluctant to give them a higher score there. So you're probably thinking, Charles, should I invest in ICOs when we're in a bear market? Well, the answer is yes and no. I would say you need to be extremely selective. I'm passing on almost every ICO I come across at the moment, even good promising ICOs. But I am still investing. I'm just making sure I'm putting my money into the best of the best. So that really leads me to my next question. What should you invest in? Yourself. Diversification doesn't work. You need to be smart and you need to learn technical analysis. Now, most of you probably will fail there because technical analysis is a very time-consuming endeavor. And even if you were to take the time to learn it, I would say 80% of it is all to do with psychology and mindset. And that isn't really something that could be taught or at least nurtured in an organic way. So I think many people are in three mindsets at the moment. They could either sell, hold, or rebalance their portfolio, that is. And I would encourage all of you to really focus on yourselves and just not listen to what anyone's saying online. I see so many people online and they're saying, oh, just accumulate. So there's nothing wrong with accumulating as long as you know when to sell. If you're just buying up blindly because other people are telling you to, because something's at a very low price, when are you going to sell? You're probably going to have to wait for someone to tell you to sell, and then it's going to be too late. It's not going to work. Many people fail to understand how a market works, and it is all to do with Bitcoin, essentially. All ICOs and altcoins follow the price of Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency prices are relative to one another. They move in tandem regardless of whether or not they have any worth or value. So this brings us full circle back to PChain. Does PChain actually have any value? It doesn't matter. It's all to do with market sentiment and price manipulation. That's how economics works. So thank you so much for watching my video. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and of course hit that notification button, because investing in ICOs is time critical and it would be such a shame for you to watch all my content only to miss out on the latest ICO offerings. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next episode.